3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome. The Fantasy Football Happy Hour is back for Season 2. The best news, Ricky and I will be coming to you live on Sunday mornings, kicking off Labor Day weekend. We will be doing over and unders and our fearless playoff predictions when we kick off with our first official episode. But until then, I am going division by division through the NFL, getting you ready for the 2023 season. And today that picks up with the AFC South. You know, when I looked at the AFC West and the AFC North, I talked about them as incredibly strong and competitive divisions. I have a little bit of a different take on the AFC South, but we will start with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who actually won the division last year. They were very strong down the stretch as Doug Peterson got things going with Trevor Lawrence in years 2. The Jaguars finished 9-8, made the playoffs, actually knocked out the Chargers in the wild card round before losing to the Chiefs in the divisional round. The young Jaguars are moving in the right direction. They won't surprise anyone in 2023, but I certainly think they're going to come back strong. This year, they welcomed Calvin Ridley. They acquired him last season, but he was on a year-long suspension, so he joins a wide receiver room that includes Christian Kirk and Zay Jones, who had very strong years coming in as free agents in 2022. They also brought back tight end Evan Ingram. He got the franchise tag, but ended up getting a long-term deal. I think they have a good core of passing game weapons. Travis Etienne is back in the backfield, and this year they picked up Tank Bigsby in the draft. I think they are going to have a strong connection there together. My heart won't let me quit on Calvin Ridley. I know it has been a couple of seasons since we've seen him really take off, but I think that he could lead the team as the top wide receiver this year. He's a guy in fantasy people have mixed feelings about. I acquired a couple more shares of him in the last couple of years, even knowing that I was going to have to wait for a return. I'm very excited to see him play with Trevor Lawrence. I think he can get back at least to wide receiver 2 level. He's the fantasy player that I'm kind of highlighting there. I think the Jaguars will win the AFC South again and make the playoffs. The question is, how far can they go? I think they're a good and scrappy young team, but the AFC is really loaded. It's going to come down to matchups. Second place team last year was the Tennessee Titans. They finished 7-10, really faded down the stretch, lost a bunch of games to end the season and worked themselves out of the playoffs. They're again a team that's a little bit in flux. They had a big fall off. They still have Ryan Tannehill, but how committed are they to them? For the second year in a row, they went and took a quarterback. They got Will Levis at the top of the second round, but you know what? It's been Malik Willis, who looked terrible last year, who has looked a lot better this year and seems to be tracking to be the number 2 quarterback. I think as long as Ryan Tannehill is healthy, he is going to be out there and be the starter. They still have Derrick Henry, so they have a great player in the running game. They added veteran DeAndre Hopkins. It's an interesting wrinkle. How well will he fit? How high octane of a passing offense will this be? That remains to be seen. I'm hoping to see a better year 2 for Treylon Burks. I also love Chig Okonkwo, who came on toward the end of the season at tight end. They have some talent. They have some potential there on offense. There's a wide range of outcomes. You know, I could see them being a 6-win team. I could also see them being a 9-win team and pushing to get into the playoffs again. I tend to lean toward them winning 8 to 10 games and being somewhere in the playoff mix, pushing the Jaguars a little bit at the end of the season. The Indianapolis Colts were 4-12-1 last year, finished actually 3rd in the division. The experiment bringing in Matt Ryan didn't work out. He is gone. The Colts flamed out, missed the playoffs. Coach Frank Reich was dismissed mid-season, and they continued to flounder. Enter Shane Steichen, who was the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles the last couple of years, and he got his new franchise quarterback in Anthony Richardson. Richardson has some incredible athletic gifts, but there are high highs and potential low lows. Another problem to be watching for the Colts is Jonathan Taylor, their star running back, very upset. He was given permission to seek a trade. As of this recording, he has not yet been traded, but that leaves a lot of questions for this offense. Michael Pittman Jr., probably their best receiver. I like Alec Pierce. They went and got Josh Downs. They have a whole bunch of tight ends. But Anthony Richardson has struggled a little bit with accuracy. I think there will be growing pains this season. I think this might be a fun team to watch, but they probably in a 4 to 7 win range. Again, I think they'll be fun to watch at times. I don't think they'll be incredibly competitive this year. The development of Richardson is really going to be key to their long-term success. I think they will probably also tweak closer to 4 or 5 wins if they move on from Jonathan Taylor, because that is going to be a big loss. Next up is the Houston Texans, 3-13-1. They were fourth in the AFC South. They were bad again, but they finished just good enough to get the number 2 pick instead of the number 1 pick. They let go of Lovie Smith. They changed coaches again. This time they have D'Amico Ryans. I really like him. He was a hot young coordinator, did some great things with the defense in San Francisco. This is still a team that's a work in progress. They may have found their franchise quarterback in CJ Stroud, but again, there'll probably be some growing pains. The wide receiver core, they added a veteran in Robert Woods. They added Tank Dell in the draft. Xavier Hutchinson in the draft. John Mechie III is supposed to come back. They still have Nico Collins. I don't know which of those guys is going to be the alpha. The most interesting passing game weapon to me is Dalton Schultz, who they signed on a 1-year deal coming over from Dallas. I think he might be the best bet in the passing game. They still have Damian Pierce in the running back room. I think he will be good. They added Devin Singletary. I think those guys are going to split the work. Schultz is probably the one I'm most interested in fantasy. I think this is another team that is still a work in progress. There's still work to be done. I have them in kind of the 4 to 7 win range too. Not sure whether the Texans or the Colts will finish higher. I think they'll both be kind of in the same range. This is a division where, to me, it's pretty clear the Jacksonville Jaguars are the best and going to be in the playoffs. I would be surprised if any of the other 3 make the playoffs, but stranger things have happened. That's my take on the AFC South. If you have comments or thoughts about the teams, please leave them in the comments section below the video. Otherwise, you guys have a great day, and I will be back soon with a look at another interesting division, which is the NFC South.